Hello and welcome to Support Life, a program focusing on current social issues from a life-affirming perspective. I'm John Hendriks, and this week our guest is Damien Brick. Welcome, Damien.
Thanks, John. It's good to be here.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 23. I live in Beaumaris. I went to school at St Bede's College in Mentone, and from a large Catholic family, and just looking forward to talking to you today.
Fantastic. Appreciate you making the time. And from our discussions off camera, you're currently studying a theology diploma,
yes.
Is that right?
Yes, I'm studying a diploma in theology at a Catholic Theological College in the city, and I started this year. I'll be finishing next year, and it's just a good experience, very enriching to study that. Yeah.
Great. And what are the things that you're sort of covering in there at the moment specifically?
A bit of Bible studies and church history, but also theology and pastoral work. Yeah, so it's a good spread, and it's
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I find it very interesting.
Absolutely. And being a pro-life program, that Support Life is, we would like to hear a little bit more about how you became involved with the pro-life movement. Yes.
Probably started back in high school. I was part of lots of social justice groups. And then after high school, I got invited to go to something called YPAT, which is a Young Political Activist Training Conference run by the TMC, the Thomas More Centre. And through that, met a lot of people who were, very big into the pro-life movement, and met a lot of inspirational people, and that sort of pushed me along the lines to get more involved. And because it was a conference, I learnt a lot about it as well. And from there, I made a lot of friends, and a lot of them have continued with me, in this journey of being part of the pro-life movement. It's been very good.
Fantastic. So you were saying that you started this basically in high school. Is this right? You sort of had it, because I remember being at high school and I didn't really understand that. So it's a real gift, isn't it, to be able to understand what it is, how the sacredness of life at such a young age. You would have only been in your teens at that stage? Yeah,
in my teens, yeah. So back in high school, it was a number of issues. But so it was after school, just sort of really decided, there's one big, moral issue, and that's the abortion. So, so I've really focused on that. It's a struggle, but
it is, absolutely. And you mentioned a group that you got involved with at a young age. What group was that again?
Well, it was a Thomas More Centre. There was a Thomas More Centre youth group, but at the same time it was a Young Political Activist Training Conference.
I see.
So it's been run a number of times in Melbourne and in Brisbane for young people who are involved in Catholic circles who want to get more involved in knowing what they can do to help the pro-life movement, and for other issues as well.
Sure, and some of those issues that that they speak to you about, is it a conference? Is it an education that they give you, or is it just topics that are discussed, or is it a general sort of all-round thing that they cover?
It's a lot of all-round. It's an all-round thing. We had talks from politicians, talks from people from the NCC, National Civic Council, and also talks. And we had discussion time with ourselves, and talks from priests and that. And
okay.
Yeah, it was a real it was full on. Like, so you had to take in a lot, but at the same time, there was about 15 of us there, and we all know each other still. And
fantastic.
Yeah.
And can you tell us at that stage, attending those conferences and speaking to people and things like that, how did you feel about the abortion matter?
Well, I was very saddened by it, obviously, and that was one of the main reasons, got pushed into it. But going through, those conferences and that, it's it was great to form those friendships with other people with the same with the same tribes and that sort of thing,
understanding,
you know. Yeah,
of course.
the same understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And was the initial reaction of condemning people, or were you sort of more making people aware, or were you absolutely surprised that, how come the population at large doesn't discuss this topic much? Or
yeah, well, I mean, around that time, it would just a year and a bit earlier, the abortion laws had passed in Victoria, and so there was like most of the stuff we were doing, and that was based around the politics, getting in contact with your local politician, that sort of stuff, and also awareness was a big thing, being part of handing out flyers and that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't say condemning was a word.
Yeah, of course,
that we ever used,
yes. Yeah. And what year were you involved in that movement?
The YPAT conference started in 2008, I think, and I went to one in 2010. And so that was a couple of years after the Abortion Law Reform Act was passed. And during the conference, we learnt a lot about that the Abortion Law Reform Act from Peter Kavanagh, who was a DLP upper house representative of the from 2006 to 2010, and he was present at the time that the Abortion Law Reform Act went through Parliament. So yeah, it was a big time in Victoria's recent history, and something we'd like to get past and forget, sort of thing. So
I've heard his tape. He refers to it as Victoria's darkest day.
Yes. No, I've heard all his recollections, and it wasn't a good day for Victoria.
On that note, when we come back, we're going to ask you a couple of other questions you're involved with. You're watching Support Life. Please join us straight after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm John Hendriks, and my guest is Damien Brick.
Thanks,
Damien.
John.
Just before the break, we were talking about the 2008 Law Reform Act, which you had some experiences with, listening to Peter Kavanagh, you were saying.
Yep.
What was all that about?
Okay, well, in 2008, Peter Kavanagh put up a number of reforms to the Abortion Law Reform Act, and they were all voted down. And that included pain relief for the child and a number of other things, just to try to protect them. But they were all defeated. And what eventuated was the worst abortion laws in the Western world, right here in Victoria. And if that can't get you up out of your seat to want to do something, then I don't know what else would. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree totally. And on that point, you were saying off camera that you're now involved with the DLP. Do you want to give us some sort of discussion on that and how you came about?
Well, at the moment I am on the state executive of the DLP in a role involved in the internal media of the party, promoting events and that sort of thing. And just recently I was involved in the last national election, and with the DLP as a state director for the election. I was helping out Mark Farrell, who was the candidate, the lead Senate candidate for Victoria. And I learned a lot through that, and it was a tough time. Like, we had to work really hard on that. But I got a lot out of it. Learned a lot of things to do with the side of politics, and and I'll be looking forward to the election next year in Victoria.
This was 2010, you're saying? The 2010 elections?
No, sorry, just this year.
This year's elections.
Year, the national
elections.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the federal election?
Yeah, sorry, the federal.
Federal, yeah. No, that's all right. And,
that's okay.
And John Madigan is the DLP senator, isn't he, federally?
Yes, he is. He's the Senator for Victoria, and he got up in 2010. and that was a great result for the party. It was the first time a DLP senator had been elected in well over 30 years, and those sort of political revivals are very, very rarely seen throughout the world, and the DLP has one of them. So that's we're very proud of that.
Fantastic.
And the sort of things that we can do there, it was really good.
And you were saying that he's been the only politician that's brought about a pro-life motion. Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Just recently, he put in a motion to just condemn gender selection abortions, and so there's no legislation yet, but the motion he put up to condemn it was the first pro-life motion in over 40 years to be put up to any sort in federal politics.
You wonder what's been happening in our governments have been focusing on everything other than
that's right.
And
sadly, there's a lot of people who've been paying lip service to the pro-life movement without actually, putting anything up. So it's really good that John and the DLP have been able to do that just recently. And I know just in this term, we'll be putting up legislation to hopefully stop Medicare funding for gender selection abortions, and hopefully that's just the start. And we keep on moving on from there.
It's certainly hard work, isn't it? When we think about the terrible law that was passed in 2008 and how much work there is to repeal that act.
Yes, yeah.
And recently there's been some discussion from a doctor, one of the only doctors who got up and said, hey, I don't agree with this, and that's Dr. Hobart. You've had a little bit to do with that. You want to tell us about that?
That's got to do with the doctor's conscience in referring a patient who's asked for an abortion. What the case was with that, the patient came and asked if they wanted an abortion because they had a girl and they wanted a boy. Now, law says that Dr. Mark Hobart had to refer them on to a doctor who would do that abortion. Now, Dr. Mark said, which doctor in their right mind would do this sort of thing? So he stood up against it and he didn't give them a referral. So since then, there's been a lot of stuff come out in the media, and he's under investigation at the moment. And I just want to say, what he did was one of the biggest, one of the most courageous things that anyone's done, or could do for a while, even in the pro-life movement or outside. Because he's put his job on the line, his name on the line. And, that's something that he should be supported and congratulated for.
Absolutely. So for our viewers who perhaps may not understand, may not have an understanding of what he actually did. So what you're saying is that doctors are not allowed to give their professional opinion if someone walks in and says, hey, I want an abortion. Is that right? Is that currently what the Act is?
Well, the Act, I'm not sure about their professional opinion, but the Act says that they have to refer the couple on. If they don't want to do the abortion, performing the abortion themselves, they have to refer them on to a doctor who will, in any case. Now, there's probably a number of doctors that wouldn't refer in any case, because if they do refer them on, they'll have that on their conscience. That I've given these people this number to call to get an abortion. It's the sort of thing that we shouldn't have to that we shouldn't support, and we should support the doctor's right to have a clear conscience in this area.
It certainly sounds to me as he's one in a million. That's and I've read some articles about Dr. Mark Hobart where people have condemned him for what he's done, but I just think that's absolutely crazy.
Because even these people that condemn him, they don't agree with gender selective abortions, so it doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Yeah, you just wonder how what people are thinking out there. Yeah. So and what's the DLP's sort of stance on it's Section 8, is it? What's their stance on that? On
the doctor's conscience, we're definitely in support of Dr. Mark Hobart, and so we'll be working towards helping him. and helping other doctors like him.
Terrific.
And I know in
well, on that note, sorry we have to interrupt you.
That's
on
all
that
right.
note, we'll have to take a break.
That's okay.
You're watching Support Life. We'll be back straight after the break. Welcome back to Support Life. I'm John Hendriks and our guest is Damien Brick. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Damien, just before the break we were talking about the support that the DLP is supporting Mark Hobart's case.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, unfortunately, right at the moment, the DLP doesn't have a member of Parliament in Victoria, which is where this specific case is centred, and hopefully that'll change next November at the next state election. We'll be putting up a number of candidates, and but at the moment, there's support from a few people in Parliament putting in petitions and that sort of thing in favour of Mark Hobart. So they're to be commended for the work, and so there's a lot of support at the moment, which is good.
Fantastic. And what sort of campaigning would the DLP do? And what sort of campaigning are you doing and you're involved with for the next election?
Well, for the next election, a lot of we'll be doing a lot of leafleting, but also in this current age, we'll be putting a lot of emphasis on social media and broadening as much as we can, broadening our base of people, who even know the DLP, know what we're about, and know that we're, and I'll turn it to the major parties. We've got a wide policy base, and so it's a great party to be involved with.
Fantastic. It certainly sounds like it. And we were talking about, off camera, we were talking about some of the things that you're involved with, some of the rallies and marches, like the Youth for Life. Is that one of them?
Yeah, Youth for Life is an organisation with young people who are pro-life and want to act out that. So, I've been to a few rallies in the city, just holding up. It's more raising awareness.
Yep.
So we might be standing on the side of the road with
some banners and things.
with some banners. One that was quite moving and got a bit of positive response was there was about 10 of us, and we're holding up a poster of each month of a picture of a baby and each month of the pregnancy. And so that was quite good, because it raised awareness, that in Victoria, abortion's legal in all 9 months, so it's which is tragic. But there's a lot of people who didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they came up and we discussed it with them, and they realised how abhorrent it is.
That's fantastic that you did that, and it's great to get some positive sort of feedback from just the general public.
Yeah, just the general public. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us, did you go to the March for the Babies as well this year?
Yes. I went to the March for the Babies this year, and it was very different to past years with the opposition that was there. Stopped us and were quite violent, throwing things, and where the police had a presence, but not as good a presence as otherwise some people could have said they could have had to protect the citizens. But I found it was very positive in the end, because of the media coverage that it did get, and I think it'll be a big event next year, as it has been, but maybe even bigger.
So that's what we're hoping for as well, absolutely.
Yep.
And if people watching this program feel moved, guys your age, girls, your sort of age group, watching the program and think, hey, there's a young person there that's active, that's out there, and they feel that maybe there's something for them to do, what could they do?
Well, there's lots of things. I've got a number of friends the same age, involved in these sort of groups. I know, I'd encourage anybody to get involved with, a pro-life political party. DLP is a great example of that, and it's just it's really good to get involved. Like it's a great life experience, and it's one of the most effective ways you can get involved in, and also the other there's other pro-life groups as well. Youth for Life Australia that are that are good to be involved
absolutely.
in as well.
And I think I agree with you. I think it's a fantastic support to show them, and they're all just ordinary people like you and I that just believe that this topic's wrong, and they just want to do something about it.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and are we looking at potentially a future DLP candidate? No, or you're not going down that road?
Well, at the moment, I'm very much a behind the scenes
man.
Okay. Yeah, this is the most out there thing I've done.
Okay.
But it's really fun to be involved. There's so many good inspirational people part of the party. You got John Madigan, the senator, is one of them. Like, he's just the way he goes about all the stuff he does in politics. It's admirable, and so it's great fun.
Okay. And when you finish your studies, which is I think at the end of next year, is that right? Yeah. Have you got any plans or ambitions or hopes on what you might be doing after that?
Yeah. Well, I'm still working on that. I'm wondering whether it's to go into teaching, but then again, I've also got skills in working with my hands and doing carpentry or something like that as well. As a trade. I've got that to work with. So
you're gifted with your hands and mind as well, obviously.
Yeah. So like I'm a bit of a all rounder. So it's a bit hard to nail it down. But I'm enjoying my studies at the moment.
So something ideal that could utilise both skills. Maybe some sort of business that could do it would be terrific.
Yeah. That's it's open to it. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And tell us, are you planning on? Are you having any trips or holidays or anything this coming Christmas time, or going away? Or?
Oh, definitely, probably camping.
Yeah,
I'm a great enjoy camping with my friends. I hear that Lake Eildon's filled up now, so it could be a good chance to go out there and experience that and help the local communities there that have struggled through the drought.
It's been a bit tough on them, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But it's good they get some water now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you coming on our show, and thank you for sharing with us and our viewers your own personal experience and your experience professionally and the DLP, and
thanks.
Keep up the good work that you've been doing for pro-life.
That's okay.
It's certainly great movement, and thank you for coming.
Thanks.
So you've been watching Support Life. Join us again next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.